bang on the run. Safe and boring is the way, and a big job of the week. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by a tornado of queeners and rods, and brought to you by NoDisc, helping music technology and finance companies navigate the music industry in partnership with Digital Music News. It's April 24th, 2026. I'm Lars Murray. It's another Finance Friday, but before we dive into the shallow money trench, well, in honor of the 20th anniversary, and no, you're not losing your mind, Spotify has only been in the US since 2011. It is the 20th anniversary of Spotify's launch. The platform released its most streamed of all time lists yesterday. In terms of artists, there are not a whole bunch of surprises there. Tay-Tay, Bad Bunny, and Drake are the top three in that order. The only surprise for me is the order I would have thought Drake would be number one. But rounding out the top 20, not a single surprise in the lot, including that there's not a lot of rock in there. In case you're wondering, just Coldplay warming up the oatmeal at number 17. Even fewer surprises in the top albums list. Again, maybe just the order is interesting. Tay-Tay, despite being number one overall, doesn't clock in until number 8. Just above, and here's a surprise, AM by the Arctic Monkeys. It's a pleasant surprise. Honestly, I love that record. On the song list, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd came in at number 1. A few more outliers on that list, though, relatively, with The Neighborhood, Sweater Weather at number 3. Quick, name a member of The Neighborhood. Glass Animals, Lord Huron, and Vance Joy all represented. There's not enough time here to slice and dice the parts. That could go on for days. Jem Aswad over at Variety had the rundown. Well, the run-up to the Music Biz conference has started in earnest a few weeks out. Over in Billboard, Music Biz head Portia Sabin had a chat with Ed Christman about what we should all expect. Beyond Braves games, probably not much live music. Hopefully that ghost mall still attached to the hotel. The big headline here is that AI has invaded our lives so much that it's no longer a separate track. Good move, Portia. And it seems like there's a drift toward practical information in the panel list. Also, good move, Portia. Assuming that you can actually thread the needle between the meetings to get to them, the panels should be very useful. Anyway, Ed and Portia cover it all, from the specifics of the location to the general drift of what's going to be happening over at Billboard. Also over at Billboard, Kristin Robinson has been cranking out the big gets for the On the Record podcast. A couple of weeks back, it was Chaotic Good, blowing open the virality industrial complex. This week, it's Oliver Schusser from Apple giving a refresher course on the Apple POV. TLDR, they see themselves as more artist-friendly than their competitors. They think free music devalues music, Apple ecosystem, yada, yada, yada. However, Apple is nothing if not consistent in its views, which is comforting. In these turbulent times, safe and boring is the way. You can watch the entire thing over at Billboard. Kristin and Oliver sitting down. As a side note, I don't know where people find the time to watch long videos like this, which is why we're a short audio podcast, but I would genuinely like to know, so hit me up. We've been avoiding the big Cox Cable decision that the Supreme Court handed down a while back because it seemed like such a throwback to the early aughts, even the 90s. But these long-lasting, long-forgotten industry lawsuits against various connectivity providers, mostly cable companies, have been grinding on for years, and now that Cox decision dismissal has led to a cascade of dropped cases. It's yet another example of the legal system severely lagging the tech world. It seems like half the time these cases don't get adjudicated until the whole industry has moved on, which in turn is one reason that big tech is so cavalier about the break things part of move fast and break things. Yeah, it seems funny to talk about the likes of Altice and Verizon as fast-moving, infringing disruptors, but that's what they were, and now they're off the hook. Over at Digital Music News, they've stayed on top of this for a while. Now it looks like the chapter is coming to a close. You can check it out in the show notes. Speaking of another early disruptor overshadowed by current events, Bandlab, the end-to-end music creation app with a legit hit-making track record, is often overshadowed by the Suno Studio Move Fast and Break Things generative AI duo. Well, Bandlab has been chugging along. A hat tip to Bandlab licensing wizard Jon Bahr, the pride of the 401, for passing along the info that Bandlab had elbowed aside Suno Studio and all of those other places to take home the People's Voice Webby for Best User Experience. Now, it doesn't hurt that Bandlab has an active and baked-in user community, but they still had to overcome 13,000 other submissions, which ain't nothing. Congrats, Bandlab, for taking home an important award. There's a link in the show notes to their victory lap. Now let's dive into the shallow money trench where thieves and pimps run free. Well, they run free in the United States, at least. Seems like it's a little harder in Korea. First, we had Hybe calling the cops on Min Hee-jin now 2 years ago. Now we have Bang on the run. Yes, Chairman Bang Si-hyuk, the top guy over at Hybe, is still in the crosshairs of law enforcement for alleged shenanigans around Hybe's IPO. The breaking news this morning is that the K-cops, yes, I went there, are not going to be able to take him into custody. But they sure do want to. Over at the Independent, Kim Tong-hyung reported this morning that prosecutors called off the K-cops and told them to stop short of throwing the chairman into the clink. However, he's still not allowed to leave the country. It's very hard to imagine any of the U.S. major label heads facing that kind of pressure, especially over a relatively paltry, and yes, I said that, relatively paltry 1.36 rods, or 136 million. Nope, the interesting sums these days seem to start around 5 rods, or 500 million, and that's the amount Chord is issuing as asset-backed securities against their catalog assets. Hungry investors will get to bet on the very predictable catalogs of Morgan Wallen, Suicide Boys, and Ryan Tedder, among others. When it comes to music investments, safe and boring is the way. I mean the investment, not the music. Well, maybe a little. And that's about it for Finance Friday. We've got a job of the week again from friend of the pod, ace recruiter Tom Truitt of Turnkey ZRG. This one is a big one. The Academy of Country Music is looking for a new CEO. I'll talk a little more about that on Monday, but I didn't want to leave it for the weekend in case you want to get your applications in. If you know someone with the moxie, the connections, and the smarts to be the CEO of the ACM, send them Tom's way and tell him we sent you. Support for Unlimited Supply comes from you, our listeners, and now we have Unlimited Supply swag. The limited edition Unlimited Supply Black Auto Trucker Cap is on sale in the store, bundled with a year-long premium membership for one reasonable price. If you lay down for the Trucker Cap, you will have the satisfaction of supporting Unlimited Supply. You will also receive a shout-out as a supporter in the show. To get your hands on one of these bad boys, just head over to the Unlimited Supply shop. We also have Unlimited Supply merit badges, or you can just buy me a cup of coffee. We've made all of this commerce very easy for you with a link in the show notes. Our Unlimited Supply song of the week comes from the organ jazz combo Parlor Greens. It's a little slab of spring sunshine called Eat Your Greens. Those greens are very tasty and well seasoned. You can go listen to Eat Your Greens wherever you get your Unlimited Supply podcast playlist. That would be on Qobuz, Amazon Music, and Spotify. There's a link in the show notes. If you like what you hear, please hit that follow button wherever you get your pods. I live for your praise and encouragement in person, but it helps a lot more if you drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. And tell a friend or three, preferably 21 times, because according to marketing wizard Susie Schultz, it now takes not 5, but 21 times for anything to sink in. So I'll say it again, buy an Unlimited Supply limited edition trucker hat at ko-fi.com/unlimited supply. Anyway, links, including links to support us, are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. In the words of the great philosopher and recently promoted M-Theory EVP of Marketing and Operations, Eduardo Rivadavia, congrats, Ed. Don't let your short-term greed get in the way of your long-term greed. And remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest.